Hey everybody, welcome back to Terran's Books and Beyond. Today we're going to be doing the On My Shelf tag, which I had apparently mixed up with two completely different things, mixed up with a bookshelf scavenger tag and just a general bookshelf tour. So I've been calling it the wrong thing for like the past month. But no, this is actually the On My Shelf tag that I was tagged in by Bree Hill a few months ago. Basically how it works is that I put down how many shelves I had and how many books I had on each shelf, and my followers were able to give me some coordinates for those shelves to find books off of them. So the first set of coordinates is from RC, from Neku the Book Lock, and they are shelf 1, book number 34. I'm gonna have to pick these out. Ouch! Dropping things up here. Ow. I stubbed my toe on my chair. Okay. Shelf 1, Book 34 is Parasite Volume 8. This is a Japanese horror manga about alien parasites that come down and infect all the humans that they can. They take over their bodies and turn them into cannibalistic horror terrors, basically. But the main character gets one in his hand instead of his brain, and so they're both their own conscious separate entities, and they decide to work together in order to protect themselves from all the other parasites that are not as pleasant. And since this is Volume 8, I have not gotten to it yet. I've only read the first volume so far, and mainly because these are like twice as big as your usual manga volume, so I'm sure at some point I'm going to sit down and just rip through them all. I think it's going to be a fun series to get through. Well, fun may not be necessarily be the right term, because for a very terrifying, psychologically and gory horror manga, but, you know, it'll be an experience. The next set of coordinates come from the Twitch stream of one of my other booktube friends, Chris Vigilante. They suggested also shelf 1 and then book number 69. Oh, right here. Alright, so that book is Noragami, Volume 4. Once again, this is right from the middle of a manga series. This one I have actually read, but it hasn't been for a while, so once I start reading the series again, I'm probably going to have to reread it. This is about, the title loosely translates into Stray God, and it's about a Japanese Shinto deity who has absolutely no followers, and so he goes around trying to do odd jobs, do small miracles, and fulfill small prayers of people in the hopes that he can make enough money to actually buy himself a temple, and then eventually he'll be able to become the god of all of the universe. But right now he's basically homeless. The god, Yato, only really has two companions. He's got Hiyori, who is a human girl who can see him, and he has Yukine, who is called a Shinki. He's a spirit companion, essentially, that the gods can use as weapons so that they can slay demons and evil spirits. At this point in the story, as far as I can remember, they're right in the middle of a standoff between Yato and his one Shinki, and Bishamon, who is a war deity who has a whole bunch of Shinki, and she is pissed at Yato because she believes that he killed one of hers, and so she's been chasing him for decades trying to get retribution. While I don't remember all the details, I do remember it being quite a good series, and so I'll have to get back into it at some point. So the next set of coordinates come from Chris himself. It's shelf number 2 and book number 18. So that's gonna be, 16, 18. It's Young Avengers! My second shelf up here has all of my trade paperbacks and graphic novels, and one of them is Young Avengers Family Matters. This is the second trade paperback in the first run of Young Avengers, the one that started way back in 2006. Oh my god, this is a decade old. They can't even be called, they're in their late 20s at this point, well, if we're following modern times. While the first volume was their origin story, this is their continuing adventures as the members continue to dive into their backstories, so we discover connections that they have to the original Captain America program, or to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, or to Vision and Ant-Man. It's got the introduction of Speed to the team, a full-scale alien invasion of New York, and lots of cute gay romance moments. So the next set of coordinates come once again from Chris's Twitch stream, and they're shelf number 4, book number 27. So we're skipping my third shelf here, which has all the books I've read, so I don't think I can actually give many personal opinions about stuff here. 1, 2, 3, 24, 25, 26, 27. So here we have Deadly Pink by Vivian Van Velde. This is a book that's like a companion to another book I read previously called Heir Apparent. It's part of actually a trio, I believe. The third one is called User Unfriendly. All three of these books take place in the same universe, basically 20 minutes into the future where virtual reality gaming has become this huge thing. It's like deep immersion gaming. It's like going into the Matrix kind of thing. And all of them involve people who they go in to play a game and they get stuck there due to the computer malfunctioning or outside interference, and basically the only way they can get out is if they're able to beat the game itself. I really enjoyed Heir Apparent, when I read it many a year ago, and if this is anything like it, then I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this as well. Alright, now the fifth set of coordinates here are actually from a random number generator, because when I was going through the coordinates, I realized that Chris and RC had both actually given me the same set of coordinates, like exact same. Good job, you two. This that I got from the random number generator is shelf number 5 and book number 23. My fifth shelf is my unread hardcovers and just really large paperbacks. So, it's right on the bottom. Great. Get over here. Alright, so this one we have William Shakespeare's The Tragedy of the Sith's Revenge. And this is the third book in the William Shakespeare Star Wars series. Obviously, they're not written by William Shakespeare. They're written by a guy named Ian Dosher, who takes the plots of the movies and he transcribes them into Shakespearean language, involving a lot of allusions to other Shakespeare plays, and basically makes them seem like they would fit very well into the Elizabethan era. As it stands right now, I have all 3 of the prequel plays, and then I also have The Jedi Doth Return, which is the last one. So I still need to get the ones that are based off of A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, but once I do, then I'll be able to start reading through the series. I mean, they're pretty thin compared to some of the other books I have, so it shouldn't be too much of a struggle. Then the 6th set of coordinates come from Chris Vigilante's boyfriend, so thanks, dude. And they are shelf number 6, book number 6. That shelf is my red hardcovers. So that's going to be... Oh no, now I'm trapped. Get out of the way, chair! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh. Bring this thing back here now. Okay. So that coordinate leads to Huntress by Melinda Lowe. This is a book that I read about a year ago. I sort of liked it at the time, but I think I've mentioned this before. I wasn't at the right state of mind. If I were to reread it now, I enjoyed it a lot more because I expected it to be a high fantasy kind of thing, but it turned out to be more of an epic romance. And so I've already done a review for it, which I'll link below so you can check out my thoughts of it from back then. It's a very good book. I highly recommend it. I need to reread it again. Make sure my heart is truly in it this time. And then the 7th and final set of coordinates come from both RC and Chris. They lead to shelf number 7, book number 5. Now my 7th shelf is actually over here. It's what I call my reading queue shelf. It's basically just a TBR shelf, and when I'm planning out stuff that I want to read in the future, I line up all my books there, so that as soon as I finish one book, and I usually finish stuff when I'm sitting at my desk, so as soon as I finish that, I can reach over, and I can grab the next book, and I can pull it down right in front of me. And so if we're going left to right, like I have done for all these other shelves, then the 5th book is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aha! So those coordinates lead us to Heidi Hellig's The Girl from Everywhere. Everywhere? Everywhere! This is a book I was planning on reading for a Diversathon earlier this year, but I never got to it. This is about a girl who lives on a pirate ship with her father, and the pirate ship can travel through time and space and into worlds of story and myth and legend, and they're trying to seek out her mother because her father, kind of lost track of her, and he hasn't been able to find the map to get back to the right time and place in order to be reunited with her. And the girl's kind of concerned because if they go through these misadventures the wrong way, then she could be erased from existence. Whoops. And that concludes the On My Shelf. Okay, so I was literally in the middle of recording this when I got a notification that someone commented on my April wrap-up, and I didn't think it would be this, but it turned out it was, so they actually gave me some more coordinates. So these are all coming from Kaz from Cats and Camera. I looked at some of her videos earlier today, and they're actually pretty cool, so you should definitely check her out as well. Oh, and Kaz is also my 100th subscriber, so that's pretty awesome. High five! So the first coordinate she gave me was shelf number 2, book 17. So that's going to be up here again. Oh wait, of course. Young Avengers. This comes right before the other Young Avengers book. So like I said, this is the one that has their origin story in it. It's got Patriot, Iron Lad, Hulkling, Wiccan, the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, and also Stature. It involves them fighting Kang the Conqueror and also trying to avoid the other Avengers because they really don't want a bunch of little kids running around claiming to be the Avengers and causing shit and getting into trouble. Obviously, you should read this one before you read the other Young Avengers book, but I managed to get them both at once, and so it was great to read them all together. Then we've got shelf number 3, book 32, so actually I get to talk about a book that I've read. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so here we have The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. So this is a mystery book. It just edges out past novella into novel, I believe, lengthwise, but it's still pretty short. I got through it in a weekend. This is about an old guy who he dies, and then he leaves an inheritance to a group of seemingly random people who live in the apartment complex just down the road from his big mansion. Basically, he says that whoever can solve this big puzzle is is the one who will be able to get my inheritance. Everyone gets these little sets of clues, and they're all paired up into these seemingly random teams, and they all have to try and figure out what's going on, and as they do, they start to uncover secrets about the old dead dude, as well as some secrets out of each other's past. It's a really fun read. For something so short, it manages to fully realize the characters pretty well, especially considering that it actually has a pretty sizable cast. So I was really impressed with it, and I totally recommend it to anyone who does like a good mystery. And then the last coordinate from Kaz is shelf number 4, book number 9. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that book is The Ice Cream Queen of Orchard Street by Susan Jane Gilman. It might seem like some kind of bright and cheery thing, but it actually sounds like it's more of a very intense crime thriller. It's about a woman who manages to get to New York, and she starts off with nothing. Eventually she becomes like this little sweet old lady who runs an ice cream parlor. Slowly everything builds, and she engineers a huge business success going throughout the decades, and then all of a sudden her past starts to catch up on her. I got this a while ago and I kind of forgot about it until I pulled it out because of this tag. When I get a chance, I'll read this and I'll report back to y'all. Alright, so that really does conclude the On My Shelf book tag, and now I have a huge stack of books sitting on my bed that I'm gonna have to try and find the spots for again. Great! I'm gonna open this tag up to anybody who feels like doing it, just because I think most of the people I usually tag have already either done it or have been tagged to do it. And if you're gonna do this tag, then feel free to hit me up. I'll definitely send some coordinates your way. You can contact me, obviously, through my YouTube channel. You can comment on here. You can also hit me up on my Instagram, my Tumblr, and my Goodreads, which I'll link all of those below. And of course, always feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Now that I've hit 100 people, I guess the next goal would be 200. I could say 500, but that's probably pushing it. So yeah, let's say the next goal is 200. And when I hit 200 subscribers, I'll eat a lemon. Just a whole lemon. I'll just cut in half, take a piece, just go. And so with that picture in mind, I'll see you all later.